的が参ります。ご注意ください。
Hey friends, what's good? So, if you didn't know, we're in a pandemic.
Guess what, bitch? Coronavirus!
And to a lot of you, that is no surprise at all. But I don't know, maybe if you live under a rock like Patrick, it might be something that you don't know. Personally, I never thought that I would live through a pandemic or even like see one. It's not something you necessarily think about when you're going through your life, but now that it's happened, we kind of just have to deal with it. Now with the pandemic occurring, a lot of people, including myself, have all these questions like, what is my life? What is the future gonna look like? What should I be doing? I don't know, it's freaking confusing, we're all panicking, and there's a lot of us who just don't know how to cope. I have my own coping mechanism, which is not like necessarily foolproof or anything, and it's called the things could be worse idealism. I don't think I really need to explain it beyond that because it's just like, hey, things could be worse. And I mean, looking at the current news and current situation and things that are happening, like a lot of people don't think 2020 can get any worse. But if I compare our current world situation with the pandemic and everything compared to things that happen in anime, I don't know if we're doing too bad. Because even though in animes, the main character can have like superpowers or special abilities or something that makes them super great, the trials and tribulations that they actually have to go through are pretty intense. And there are actually a good amount of animes that feature pandemics, so I thought we could take a look at those today. So these are animes about pandemics. When people think about a pandemic, I think the first thing they think about are zombies. So of course we have to add a zombie anime in this. High School of the Dead covers the criteria for what is usually in every anime. High school students, action and adventure, overly sexual themes that come at odd times, and a powerless character who ends up becoming cool and a hero. The zombies literally show up out of nowhere, and it's not necessarily explained how it started, but it's all about zombies, and there's so much content already about zombies, so I think skipping the science part is fine. The second thing that people think about when referred to as a pandemic are vampires. Once again, the vampire content is a bit oversaturated like zombies. In Owari no Seraph, there actually is a pandemic, a virus that kills everyone over the age of 13, and that's when the vampires come to enslave everyone as they do. The pandemic part lasts about 20 seconds or so in the actual anime, so we get to see more of the result of the pandemic compared to the pandemic itself, as the anime itself is set in a post-apocalypse world during a war between humans corrupted by demons and vampires. The next anime may be the most relevant if we're talking about a real pandemic. The pandemic involved in Guilty Crown is called the Apocalypse Virus, which becomes referred to as Lost Christmas. Nobody really understands what the virus is, but the result of the virus is people get all crystally and then they fall apart. An independent military force takes charge to keep order, but there are always secrets and rumors to deal with. Our main character Shu ends up with superpowers, which grant him the ability to pull random objects out of people and use them like weapons, like swords and scissors and a hairdryer looking thing. Shu tries to discover the secret of the virus and how to save everyone. Yeah, it does get kind of weird, but it's not a bad show. Our next anime uses the term pandemic very loosely, but I'm gonna say it still counts. The pandemic in this case is random people combusting into flames and turning into fire monsters called infernals. Sound familiar? Well, it is a show currently airing, so it should. Fire Force follows the struggles of firefighters / religious agencies that aim to save people from the issue of human combustion. Many of the characters have fire powers themselves to fight against infernals and the Evangelists, an evil group trying to recreate the Great Disaster. And that basically means they want to burn down the world. And honestly, with California's wildfire on high alert, I think this is more than appropriate to add to the list. Finally, we have one of my favorite animes. The pandemic in this case is everyone turning into stone due to a magical phenomenon. It's classified as an unknown disease, aka pandemic, since only a few people know that ancient magic is the cause of this issue. Our main characters don't give a crap about the pandemic though, as they are protected by magical items and have their own mission, to solve a murder that changed their lives, which will inadvertently save the world from the pandemic as well. I know it sounds confusing, but I highly recommend this anime. It combines action and mystery and somehow makes me appreciate Shakespeare through the multiple quotes that are offered. That was the most surprising thing since I hated studying that kind of literature in high school. And that concludes animes about pandemics. There are other animes about pandemics, I'm sure, but I just wanted to make a list of the ones that I personally enjoyed. If there are other animes about pandemics that you enjoyed, please leave it in the comments below so other people can check them out. Also, thank you so much for all the kind comments in the previous videos about the channel. It seems to be doing pretty well and people like what I'm doing, so I'm just, you know, like trying my best here. We'll see what goes down. But I do appreciate those nice comments because it does give me motivation to keep creating videos like these. Make sure to click that like button if you liked the video and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you next time. Peace.